Welcome to the From My Stand podcast with Matt Hinkle. Whether you are an avid hunter, a novice, or someone interested in the sport, Matt has a unique perspective to share. Sit back, relax, and kick your boots up as Matt shares what he's seeing from his stand.
Hi friends, thanks for joining us today. I'm your host, Matt Hinkle, and welcome to my backyard. Season 2 of the From My Stand podcast is all about the year in the life of a hunter. And as you know, I'm a bow hunter for whitetail deer in the fall. You are probably too. And so the question is, right now it's April, early April. What's a deer hunter do? What's a bow hunter do this time of the year? Because really there's no off season. There's always something to be doing. Well, I think the biggest thing you could be doing right now is working on your archery skills, getting better as an archer, getting better with your equipment. And so that's what we're doing. I would encourage you, if you can, shoot in your backyard or on your own property. You could even maybe put a target down in a basement or something. You got to be careful shooting in a basement, but get you a home base routine down where you can practice at home. But I know not everybody can shoot at home. And so find you an archery range nearby, a local archery range somewhere, or a buddy's house or somewhere that you can shoot. And I have like a backyard routine and an archery range routine. I'm going to talk to you today about the backyard routine. But first of all, I want to show you my bow. Success in archery begins with your equipment. One of the biggest mistakes that people make with archery equipment is they get more bow than they can handle. Make sure that you can pull that bow, you can draw that bow, and it's not too much weight or it's not too big for you. I am using these days, now I've used a lot of different bows, but I'm using the Whitetail Legend by Bear Archery. I love this bow. This year will be my 3rd season using this bow, and I've had good success with it. I think I've killed 3 deer with this bow, and it is going really, really good. Now, take the quiver off for just a second. I left everything, this bow came as a ready to hunt package. It was all ready to go. And everything on it is basically factory except for the rest. I did put a QAD drop away rest. And so, I'll show you the little drop away action. I really like that rest. That was an add-on. That didn't come factory. But other than that, this is a factory bow. It's kind of a middle of the road. As far as budget goes, about a $500 setup, but it comes ready to hunt. Everything's on it and ready to go, so you don't really have to buy anything unless you just want to. Now, let me see if I can put this quiver back on. Okay, and we're back in business. Okay, so what I do in the backyard, and I've got a cameraman tonight. I know not everybody has a cameraman with them, but every once in a while, I would encourage you to film yourself shooting so that you can keep an eye on your archery form. I mean, look, everybody from every kind of athletics there are, there's form involved in it. And there is proper archery form. I'm going to ask the cameraman, Matthew, my son, to come around and get directly across from me. And let's talk about compound bow form for just a minute. Now, it all starts with your connection to the ground. It starts at your feet. You want your feet about shoulder width apart. Personally, now, by the way, if you're shooting a long bow or a recurve bow, the form is going to change a little bit. This is for compound bow shooting is what I'm talking about tonight. But you want your back foot to be right over your back shoulder, and you want your back foot to be 90 degrees from the target and from the flight of the arrow. So you just basically want it pointing straight out ahead of you. Your front toe, you want it about shoulder widths apart, but you can open that front toe up a little bit and kind of do a semi-point toward the target. Now with a compound bow, you want to have good posture. You want to be standing up straight. When you got your bow up, you don't want to be hunched over to the forward. You don't want to be leaning back. You don't want to be swayed back this way. And you don't want to be turned in towards the target too much. You basically want good up and down posture. You want your shoulder, or you want your elbow kind of straight out from your shoulder. You want your front arm straight, but not your bow arm straight, but not locked. Don't lock your elbow. Keep it slightly bent. That'll give you a little bit of it'll absorb some of the shock and it'll help you out. Now, I'm a big believer that one of the most critical mistakes people make with archery equipment is they get more bow than they can handle. You want to make sure that you can pull your bow back without giving it one of these. Now, it is April, and I am just now getting into my shooting routine. But one of the biggest things you're doing in April is not so much worried about accuracy, although accuracy always matters, but you're really conditioning your body, because archery is all about conditioning. In the fall, when you're hunting, you don't want to have your bow such to where you're having to pull it, point it up in the air, and you've got to wrestle it to get it pulled back. You want to be able to pull it back nice and smooth. Now, tonight I'm going to shoot a few groups, and it's early, and I might bring the bow up just a little bit because, again, it's early. I'm kind of out of shape. But, I mean, it's April. It's time to start getting in shape. Something else real quick before I shoot this first group. You got a top and bottom Allen screw. This is what controls your weight. If you crank those to the right all the way down, that's going to give you maximum poundage. You should never take them out to the left more than four full turns. I don't recommend going even 4 full turns. It's a little too close to the edge for my own taste. But in the spring, when I'm just kind of getting back into the shooting routine, I take about 2 turns off and I lighten the bow up a little bit, just so I can shoot a lot and not overexert myself. Because, you come out here and shoot anywhere from 5 to 10 3-shot groups or 5-shot groups, you're going to get tired really fast. When you get tired, it's time to quit. When you're in the backyard and you start getting tired and shaky, you just need to stop, because you'll form really, really bad habits when you're tired. But let me show you what proper archery form looks like. We've already talked about the stance. You want to be able to draw the bow back smoothly. You want to hold your bow arm still, your string arm back, and you're going to bring your release to your anchor point. I use a trigger release. There's a lot of different kinds of releases out on the market. I simply use a trigger style release. I've had this thing for like 15 years. I plan on using it till it won't work anymore. I love this thing. It feels like a part of my hand. And so I'm just not going to get anything different until this thing quits working. It just feels so natural in my hand that I don't want to stop using it. But you don't want to punch that trigger and jerk everything. You want to be real smooth, just like on a rifle or on a handgun. You just want to just touch that trigger. This thing has a pretty light trigger. You just touch it. You don't yank it or pull it. And then you want to keep your bow arm out straight. When you pull the trigger or touch the trigger, you don't want to drop everything. And so you're going to see, I'm going to shoot a 3-shot group or 4-shot group, whatever I got in my quiver here. And let's just see how it goes. But and then I'll be watching this footage to critique my own form. So hopefully I'm using good form. But I'm going to try to show you some proper archery form and do a 3 or 4-shot group. Okay? How's that sound? Let's do that. I'm going to be aiming at the O on the letter block. Okay, right there. Okay. Now, we didn't go over something. Let me show you one other thing. The hand that you grip the bow with, okay? You don't want to put a death squeeze on this thing. It takes all the natural vibration out of the bow. You just want to kind of put it in that little pocket between your index finger and your thumb. You want to close your bottom 3 fingers around it softly, and then I just touch my thumb to my index finger, and I'm really not holding it with that tight of a grip. And that's really, that's better form, okay? I really like this Bear Whitetail Legend. It's smooth, it's fast, it's quiet, and seems to do a pretty good job. I've been pretty happy with it. I have no idea how good this group is going to be. This is basically one of my first days out this spring. So this is like spring training. You got to knock the dust off, get some of the rust worked out. I know that shot was a little low. Okay. One of the things you'll notice about this Whitetail Legend, I really like about it. My last bow was a dual cam. This is a cam, this is a wheel. It had a cam on the top and the bottom. And man, it was really, really fast. That bow was lightning fast. It was a Martin Melee, but it wanted to go. You know, when I had it back, it was wanting to go. I like this wheel on the top of the Bear Whitetail Legend. It's just a smoother experience. It's a smoother shooting experience. Something else we didn't go over, but I'll just tell you real quick. You want to try to, when you're doing your backyard routine or at the range, you want to have the same shot cycle every time. You know, if you watch baseball, a pitcher is going to have the same windup every time. A football player, a kicker, they're going to have the same little routine before they try to kick that field goal. My son's a basketball player, and when he's at the free throw line, he's got a little routine that he goes through. Most people do. Well, with your bow, you want to work out a shot cycle that you do every single time, because when that buck is under you in November or October or whatever, you don't really want to have to think about what you're doing. You want just instinct to kick in. You want to have done it 1,000 times in the backyard, so that when that buck is standing there, you're not even thinking. You just go and get him. So you want to work on that shot cycle. Let's go see how the group looks. It don't look bad. Don't look that good, but it don't look that bad. So there's a 4-shot group. My backyard routine, I'm going to do that probably, I don't know, anywhere from 5 to 10 times all through the off season. And, you know, but I'm only going to show you one group because, you know, you don't want to sit here and watch me shoot group after group. Something else that I do in my backyard routine is I take a couple of realistic practice shots. So I'm going to turn this block around, and you'll notice we've got a deer picture there. Let me show you what we're going to do with that. So on my bow and the quiver, I've got my hunting arrows, okay? Now, the way I arrange my quiver for my hunting arrows, and you can see that I'm using Easton Legacy 400 carbons. They have white cresting, and I'm using red and white 4-inch helical twist shield cut feathers. Now, I know I'm a little weird on that. Most guys these days are using the real small plastic vanes, and more power to you. I get a lot of funny looks by the type of fletching I put on my arrows. The reason I do this, I probably do sacrifice a little bit of speed with these big bulky feathers, but I still get plenty of speed. I mean, trust me, these things are going to go ripping through a deer rib cage, and they're not even going to think twice about it. But what I like about these is in the woods, if you've never shot a deer with a bow in the woods, man, it is amazing how hard it is to track that arrow with your eye. And when you have all this, it's just easier to see. And sometimes knowing where you hit that deer, or if you hit that deer, is all the difference on whether you're going to recover that deer. Okay. Now here's what I do. You'll see I've got my quiver arranged. I've got numbers on my arrows. I don't know if the camera can see that, but this is arrow 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now you say, well, where's 1, 2, 3? They've already went through a deer. I've already killed deer with arrows 1, 2, and 3. This is 4, 5, 6, and 7. I always have my next arrow that I'm going to shoot the next deer with closest to me. So it goes 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the end arrow, the one that's furthest away from me, is always a practice arrow. This is a practice arrow. My hunting arrows, my hunting broadheads never see a target. The first thing they ever make contact with is a deer's hide. But this is my practice broadhead. Now I shoot Thunderhead 100s, 3-blade, fixed blade, and man, these things do a number. Now you can see on this one, it has target residue on it because I do practice with this one. I think it's important to practice with your broadheads. But before we end this episode, let's take a shot at a deer, okay? Let's pretend that let's pretend it's October 28th and I'm 15 feet up in the tree. My dog Jake's decided to join us. But let's pretend we're up in the tree stand and the buck of a lifetime is 15 yards away, broadside. He's got his head turned. The wind's just right. He has no idea we're here. Let's see if I can get him. By the way, as the season gets closer, I'll come out here in hunting clothes. I'll have big, heavy, bulky coats on and gloves and hats. And, that's all realism. It just makes it more real. Let's see if I can get this buck. I got him. All right, he ain't gonna be hard to find. So call Travis Miller down at the taxidermy shop. Tell him I'm on the way. We got a dead buck here. I think it's important, and you don't want to group broadheads. You'll destroy your arrows. But I think it's important in the backyard, go out there and just take one shot at a time. Act like it is the shot. Put the pressure on yourself. Sometimes I'll stick a stick in the ground and kind of put a little bit of an obstruction in front of the target and try to, obviously don't shoot through the obstruction, but I try to make it tight. I try to make a tight window because that's how it is in the fall. And so you want to make it as real as you can. Well, let's go up here and see how good I hit this deer. I think I hit him a little low, but I busted him right in the heart. Trust me, he's not going far. Yeah, that's a dead deer right there. But I told you I lightened the poundage up, and of course this is a big old heavy broadhead, so it probably dropped it down. But that's still a dead buck. So anyway, that's a good idea to practice with your broadheads, and that'll go a long way in getting you ready for the season. Well, I hope this has been a help to you. If you're a bow hunter, you need to practice. We owe it to the animal. It is just the ethical and moral thing to do. I mean, come October, come November, I'm going to try to launch one of these arrows right through a deer's rib cage. And I don't want to hit that deer wrong. I don't want to hit him. I don't want to wound him. I want to hit that deer, and I want to minimize suffering. I want that deer to be dispatched as quickly and painlessly as possible. And so you want to hit them in the right spot. Now, you're not going to knock a deer off its feet very often with an arrow. But if you put a good sharp broadhead right through the vitals, there's going to be blood all over the ground, and he's not going to be that hard to find. So practice, practice, practice. Get you a backyard routine, get you a range routine. And when that big buck steps out this fall, you'll be ready, and there won't be any question. You'll be able to hunt with confidence this fall if you do your work in the spring. Well, I hope that's been a help to you in some way. Thanks for joining us today. I'm your host, Matt Hinkle, and that's how I see it from my stand.
Thank you for listening today. Be sure to tell your buddies and follow us on your favorite podcasting platforms. Y'all take care.